Well, good evening, jackasses. It is time for our matchup previews of the week, you filthy nerf herders. Here we go. I don't really have much to say about Joe and his team, except Joe's team is trash, and that's why he's not going to make the playoffs this year. Once again, basically, Joe hardly ever makes the playoffs because he's not very good at this. Carson Wentz should have been dropped weeks ago. I don't care who he's playing against. He's not good. Terrible fantasy option for Carson Wentz. Allen Robinson, don't trust that. They got one good corner, Byron Jones. It feels like an Anthony Miller, David Montgomery type of game tonight. Devonta Freeman hasn't done anything in 3 years. George Kittle and Adam Thielen, boy, yikes. Thielen's not going to play again, and Kittle's limping around. He's useless. But it's really, if you really want to think about why Joe never makes the playoffs, you look at things like he picked up Jamison Crowder, who has been trailing off hard lately, a combined 2.6 points in his last 2 games. And I know what you're thinking. Well, maybe they were tough matchups. They weren't. He played the Raiders and the Bengals and combined for 2.6. I mean, come on, Joe. Give me a game. Don't bullshit with me with this Jamison Crowder nonsense. You got to go in there. You got to find somebody at least better than that. On my side of things, I don't want to say many things that are going to be positive in this one. This one's more about the hate. So as far as my stuff goes, my guys are awesome. I'm going to kick Joe's ass. So bold prediction for this one. Joe's not going to cross 70 points, and I'm going to score $150. So I'm going to more than double Joe up this week. Starting tonight with David Mopportunity, $150, 2 scores. Mark it down. Now, we got the Who Cares game of the week, which is Tony versus Brad in the battle of the part-time worker, which is Brad, versus the gets paid for full-time work, but really only works part-time, Tony Jr. Now, Tony's still rolling with Golladay because even with David Blow, I mean, look, Golladay had a busted coverage 75-yard touchdown. That's not going to happen again. Galladay's useless. Kirk Cousins is useless. We all know that. Mike Evans is boom bust. And most importantly on Tony's team, Christian McCaffrey got downright exposed by the Redskins. He's overworked. He's tired. He's not fresh. McCaffrey's going to be useless to Tony when it matters most here in these all-important weeks. And now they have a coaching change. It's quite possible McCaffrey just sees a lot less work moving forward. That's what I think is going to happen. I mean, it's not like a guy can come in and give him more work. Certainly not going to happen. Zach Ertz has been one of the most colossal disappointments in recent memory in fantasy football, without an injury. And if it's not him, it's Le'Veon Bell. But now I want to remind everybody that Tony considered trading Christian McCaffrey, but he would not even entertain the idea of trading Le'Veon Bell. And remember what it was for. It was, his late season schedule is so great. But let's take a look here. Next week in the fantasy playoffs in the first round, Le'Veon Bell plays at Baltimore. Does that sound good to you? Well, that sounds awful. I'd hate to be in that spot where I'd have to rely on a piece of shit like Le'Veon Bell at Baltimore. I mean, this guy put up 6.7 against Cincinnati last week. Then I know what you're thinking. Well, maybe he's got a great championship matchup. Wrong. He doesn't. He plays the Steelers, which is even worse than playing Baltimore. So in a revenge game for the Steelers, it's going to be ugly. Le'Veon Bell gets his ass kicked, just like he's been getting his ass kicked all season. Tony's really bad at fantasy, and I'm grateful for that because if he wasn't so awful, a guy like McCaffrey could carry him to a championship. But because he sucks so bad, he has no chance. Now, on Brad's side of things, I'm not even going to waste my breath on Brad's bullshit. So bold prediction here is that both of your teams suck and neither one of you score 90 points. There's my bold prediction. Eat it, jackasses. Now, since I have to pick a winner, I can't pick Brad as a winner because he's not one. So, Tony Jr., you get the W. Now, on to no cheaters in the Hall of Fame, Tony Sr. versus another guy that's quite frankly just bad at this, John Vetri. Deshaun Watson, Pat Mahomes, normally you'd look at that, oh, it's a great matchup. But they both have really terrible matchups. Although I will say Mahomes is playing the vastly overrated New England Patriots. And I do think the Chiefs win that game handily. We got Devontae Parker, who is quite frankly the best player on either side of this matchup, and Chris Godwin, who is the second best player on either side of this matchup. Way to go, Steve. Can't wait to see you hanging stickers there. What I'm looking at here in this one on Senior side of things, I really think Parker, Jack Doyle, and Chris Godwin are going to have good games. I would not be surprised to see DJ Chark do absolutely nothing with Casey Hayward draped all over him like a wet blanket. Now, on Vetri's side of things, you got the Don. Julio looks like he's going to suit up. Whoopity-doo, Julio suiting up. He hasn't caught a touchdown since week 3. The guy's a pile of crap. And if all you idiots out there that bought into this is going to be the year Julio scores a bunch of touchdowns, shame on you. You're a moron and you deserve this. Julio does not catch touchdowns. He had 3 through the first 3 weeks, so you knew what was going to happen. He was going to stop catching them. It's that simple, moron. I don't understand why people every year, Julio will start out hot and everybody will go, oh, Julio's the top wideout. No, he's not. He's just not. Now, Alshon Jeffrey had a big game last week, but don't buy the hype. Alshon Jeffrey's still a turd. The Eagles are still turds. Looking at this thing, John has arguably the worst set of running backs this side of Broder. Aaron Jones has been completely garbage lately. He's had 1 good game in his last 4, and other than that, he hasn't hit 5 fantasy points in 3 out of his last 4. Aaron Jones is useless. Austin Eckler is pretty much useless at this point. John's team's terrible. Bold prediction for this one, Mahomes and Watson is the lowest scoring quarterback battle of the week. That's what it's going to be. But Senior's going to go ahead and he's going to get that win, that all-important win, as we're about to talk about. So Jared plays against Steve here. And if Steve and Brad both lose, Steve is GD by default. And since Brad is almost certainly going to lose, this stuff is good, by the way. If you guys get a chance, go stop at Costco. They're selling Oban Little Bay Special Reserve, only $30 a bottle. It's a $100 bottle of scotch. So in any event, Steve has not only a terrible team, but probably the worst manager in the league. Benny the Snail Mel, just not a good player. You watch him play, he's just sucks. So he's a perfect fit for Steve's roster. Melvin Gordon has not really been the Melvin Gordon Steve thought he was waiting on the last couple weeks. He gave him 2 good games in the middle, but other than that, he's been a gigantic disappointment. You have to figure if Steve could do it all over again, he probably trades him away. Even got offered Fournette for Melvin Gordon at one point and did not accept it. He should have rushed to hit accept on that. Now, it's just one of the many reasons Steve is in the position that he's in. Looking at the matchups here, Steve's got some good matchups, but they're super shitty players. I mean, they're just really bad. Russell Wilson against the Rams is going to be scary for Steve. I do think it's got to be scary facing Kamara, too. Even though he's playing the Niners, he's about due for a big-time blow-up game. So watch out for that. My bold prediction in this one is that Joe Mixon outscores Benny Snell and Kareem Hunt combined easily. Joe Mixon's going to have a big game against Cleveland. They can't stop anybody. That's the prediction. Winner, of course, Jared's going to win. We know that Steve can't win. That's why he's in last place. And Steve certainly can't beat mediocre teams. He only beats the whoever's in first place. If Steve's playing someone and they're in first place, he gets the dub. If not, he doesn't. So lastly, the most important matchup of the week, a win and you're in situation. We have Jason versus Reese. You know, Lamar Jackson at Buffalo, I don't love it. I do not love it. It's going to be cold. It's a good defense. I think what he did against the Niners last week at home is probably his ceiling in this one. And honestly, I don't think he even gets there because he's on the road in this one. My bold prediction, I'm just going to give it to you right now, right out of the gate. Ryan Fitzpatrick outscores Lamar Jackson. Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to have a big game against the Jets. It's tough for me to pick a winner in this one between two obvious fantasy losers. I mean, whoever wins this is going to be one and done in the playoffs. Neither one of you belongs here. Jason, because I don't know what's crazier, Jason's tiny little baby bitch arms or Reese's freakishly large drive-in movie theater forehead. Either way, you're both losers. You're going to lose in the first round of the playoffs. You both suck. I'm going to go in this matchup. I'm going to go with tiny baby bitch arms, Josh, here for the W. Just because he's got Deebo Samuel, and Deebo Samuel is going to be the highest scoring wideout in this matchup. He's absolutely tearing it up lately. He has 4 straight games in double-digit points and 5 out of his last 6 since he took over as the number 1 wideout. I don't think people realize how good Deebo Samuel is, but Deebo's going to get it done. So there you go, guys. There's your matchup previews. I wish none of you luck, and I hope that I kick your ass, Joe. See you later.